Hello, today I am going to take you through the Yankton School District's Title IX policy. My name is Sheila Woodward, and I am one of the attorneys for the school district. Title IX is a federal law that prohibits sexual harassment by or against anyone who is participating in a Yankton School District education program or activities. The law protects all participants, including students, teachers and staff, and volunteers. The law also prohibits anyone retaliating against someone for filing a complaint under Title IX or from participating in a Title IX investigation. Yankton School District's Title IX coordinator is Jerome Clemish. Mr. Clemish can be reached by phone at 605-665-3998 or at the email address listed in our presentation. Mr. Clemish's job as the Title IX coordinator is to conduct investigations into complaints alleging sexual harassment in Yankton School District educational programs or activities. Mr. Clemish also manages the investigation and adjudication process when a formal complaint is filed. The Title IX coordinator can also provide supportive measures to parties who are involved in Title IX proceedings to make sure that everyone continues to have access to Yankton School District's education programs and activities. Supportive measures can include counseling, course modifications, scheduling changes, or increased supervision or monitoring. The most important thing for each of you to know as you listen to this presentation today is that you are required to report any conduct or information that could reasonably support a claim for sexual harassment to Mr. Clemish as the Yankton School District's Title IX coordinator. This includes information that you might obtain from your own observations, from third parties, or from social media. The only exception to this rule is for school counselors who can continue to have confidential conversations with students without being required to report them to the Title IX coordinator. School counselors are still required to report suspected child abuse or neglect as set forth in South Dakota law. In 2020, the federal government revised some of its definitions and included 6 types of conduct that constitute sexual harassment under Title IX. The first type of conduct that could constitute sexual harassment is called quid pro quo. That occurs when a Yankton School District employee conditions educational benefits on participation in unwelcome sexual conduct. A hostile environment is also sexual harassment. A hostile environment occurs when the conduct is so unwelcome that a reasonable person would find it so severe, pervasive, and objectively offensive that it would deny a person equal access to Yankton School District's education programs or activities. Sexual assault is also sexual harassment. Sexual assault includes forcible sexual assault, sexual acts directed against someone who is not capable of giving consent, incest, or statutory rape. Dating violence can also be a form of sexual harassment. Dating violence occurs between people who are or have been in a social or romantic relationship. Domestic violence is another form of sexual harassment. It includes felony or misdemeanor crimes of violence conducted between current or former spouses or intimate partners, between people who share children together or cohabitate together, or people who are protected by the domestic and family violence laws under South Dakota law. Finally, the last category of sexual harassment is stalking. Stalking is engaging in a course of conduct directed at someone that would cause a reasonable person to fear for their safety or for the safety of others. There are many examples of possible sexual harassment but a few I want you to consider today include unwelcome sexual advances, sexual jokes, leering, whistling, making obscene gestures, sexual assault, violence, threats or stalking, insults or threats based on sex or gender, a change of academic or employment responsibilities based on sex, gender identity, or sexual orientation, or as we previously discussed, quid pro quo. Again, if you see conduct that you think may fit within the definition of sexual harassment within the Yankton School District's policy, please notify Mr. Clemish immediately. It is your job to notify him, and it is his job to investigate to determine whether the conduct fits within the policy and requires further investigation. The Yankton School District is committed to ensuring that its students, staff, and volunteers have access to education programs and activities free of sexual harassment. Again, if you learn of conduct that you even believe is arguably sexual harassment, please notify Mr. Clemish, and he will investigate from there. Finally, Yankton School District's full Title IX policy can be found at the district's website at the link I've provided in these materials. You can also find it by going to the website and looking under the Student Services tab for the Title IX policy. Please take 10 minutes and review the policy now. It will give you additional guidance on how a formal complaint is initiated, how the investigation process is conducted, and finally, how a decision is made by the school district regarding the outcome of formal complaints. Thank you very much for your time.